right, it is November 7th. It is a Thursday. It is a wonderful day. It's a horrible day. Depends on your perspective. Are you letting any of this get to you? How is your life different now than it was 2 days ago? How different is it? Yeah, are you better off 2 days ago than you are now? So here we are. What's interesting to me about this whole selection process is that how smoothly it went. And so another somebody on YouTube, I think it's called Rethinking the Dollar. I think he's out of Michigan. I met him actually in Flint, Michigan, back when, at the beginning of 2020, right as the pandemic was kicking off. He's called Rethinking the Dollar, I think is the name of his channel. And he's very insightful, very thoughtful. Skeptical of crypto, I've noticed in the past. Franny, are you good? Is it your show now? Yes, it's my show. But he was talking about, he had a video yesterday or the day before, and he says, yeah, everything seems to be going too easy. Almost strangely easy. Because before the election, we had all of this nonsense about everybody whipped up. Oh, people are going to riot in the streets. They're not going to accept this election. And then what happens? You have Kamala come out and, hey, we need to move along. We need a peaceful transition of power. Obama released a statement. Biden just came out today and had his little speech of how this is democracy, a democratic form of government. We need to move on. We need to have peace. We need a transfer of power. And I'm going to do everything I can to facilitate that. And I'm sure some people on that side say, hell no! We need to not let this tyrant in. We need to do everything we can to preserve democracy. That's what they were telling us the whole campaign. This guy's a threat to democracy. He's going to ruin the democratic form of government here in the United States. That's what we were told. So if that is the case, then wouldn't you, by any means necessary, not let this happen if it's such a threat and it's going to become Nazi Germany and we have Hitler coming to power? You think about it, throughout history, if you had the opportunity, this is the moral, philosophical question that some people are posed in board games. If you had the chance to go back in time and shoot Hitler and take him out before it happened, would you do it? And you think, oh, but you'd die in the process. So you have these, and some people say, absolutely, I would have done it. Oh, look at all, knowing what I know now. And that's the problem, knowing what you know now. And you don't even know. That's the thing, you don't even know. Look into the 6 million question. I'll leave it at that. But you've got a situation where if it's so terrible and so horrible that this person is going to take the reins of power in the seat of government and have all three houses, or all three branches of government, I should say, the House, the Senate, presidency, all one party, you would think that this is like terrifying. He can do whatever he wants now. They're going to pass it and rubber stamp anything. It's over for us, baby. They're not going to let us have abortions. Least of our worries at this point. Actually, it might be the greatest of worries, but I don't want to get into that whole spiritual debate. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of odd, isn't it, that everybody's just falling in line and rolling along. It's almost like a new CEO came into the corporation. We don't agree with his views, his philosophies, but he's the new CEO now. We gotta abide by it. It is what it is. Move along. Go right off into the sunset. Nobody goes to jail. There's a lot of people thinking that some people should start going to jail. Maybe this is the big unwind. We'll see what happens. Time will tell. But to me, it's almost too smooth, too scripted, too perfect. So many things to talk about. I mean, you look at the votes. If you look at the total votes in 2020, based on prior presidential elections and based on this one, which supposedly had the greatest turnout ever. We had lines early voting around here. They said absolutely record turnouts. It's like, I don't know what it was, close to 80% or something. Ridiculous amounts. I mean, unheard of. And yet, there were fewer votes in the presidential election this year than there were 4 years ago. How's that happen? Did we lose a bunch of people because of COVID? They just dropped off, they're dead, they can't vote anymore? I don't know, what happened? They gained a lot of people, they came into the country. Something doesn't add up, and if they cheated before, why not cheat again? It's almost like, no, we gotta go with the script. memorize the lines and repeat them. That's all you need to do at this point. So, kind of odd. Curious what anybody else thinks. To me, it seems very smooth. A lot of people are, oh, it's going to be chaotic. Cliff High's got his date of November. I know, there's somebody in the field, a farmer in Franny's like, hey. Cliff High has his date of November 7th. He was talking about it in an interview with John Claude, I think on the 3rd, before the election, and how something happens today. I guess we're going to have a rate decision, rate cut, whatever, rate stabilization, rate hike. Who knows what the Fed's going to do? Hey, they got to print money. This is what it comes down to. But we're going to find that out today, what happens. And on Hash It Out at 4 p.m. Central Time on Blind Dave's channel, see the link below, we'll be talking about it. We'll be talking about the election, talking about rates and the Federal Reserve and crypto, especially Bitcoin on a run. Bitcoin's at an all-time high. It needs to close, really, I guess, on the weekly, or really ideally the monthly, which I think it will. The monthly close, the high is like 71,400, and I think that was back in March. But if we have a close at, say, 75,000 for November at the end of the month, and I think it'll be probably over 80, honestly. As I've said, we're going to have the $100,000 Bitcoin parties. Finally, here it is. Finally, after all that data that Cliff, saw, when we're going to have the $100,000 Bitcoin parties, the talk of it anyway. Not necessarily it's going to hit that, which I kind of think it won't by the end of the year. But I think we're going to get teased really hard. And we're going to think we're going to have $100,000 Bitcoin parties. So I said early on Hash It Out, I said, we're not going to 100K this year. And everybody's like, oh, come on, man. And then I actually said we're not going to 100,000 this cycle. That'll be our cycle peak. So that'll be interesting. That's a little risky call there. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, there are reasons why I say that. And there are issues that are yet unresolved with Bitcoin. We'll just say that. So we'll see what happens. But we've got markets responding, feeling good. Trump's coming into office. That's probably, great for markets. We're going to have stimulus. We're going to have good for crypto, good for industry, good for oil, energy. And you're seeing the reaction right now. Enjoy the show, folks. The thing with Trump, and what I really want to talk about, the thing with Trump, he can say one thing, and this is what I've kind of been getting at and dancing around. I keep talking about choose your own adventure. We're at that period, I think, where you choose your own adventure in this life. You choose, and like I opened the video, I said, how is your life different today than it was two days ago? Some people are having meltdowns. Some people are just angry. Me, how's it changed? It hasn't. I'm still doing the same thing. I'm still on my timeline. I'm still engaging in the behavior that I want to engage in. And I'm choosing my path, and it doesn't matter who's president. It doesn't matter who's in charge, because you are either in charge of your life and your destiny or you're not. Now, sometimes that gets derailed. However, it's not because of someone getting elected. Let's park here. Back and forth, Franny's bouncing. So it doesn't change my life one bit. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. Westwood, why are you wearing a hat? You never wear hats. Get these things off. Because of this. Look at this. Most people, they wear hats because they have no hair. I wear hats because they got too much hair. Cover it up. All right, just leave it off. I need a haircut. Hey, look at this. And a real job. I can't take it. I mean, it's too long. I mean, eyebrows need to be cut. I mean, I'm shaggy right now. Heck, I haven't had a grooming, and the dogs get groomed more than I do. I haven't had a grooming since, let's roll the window down. It's going to get hot in here. Open this bee. I haven't had a grooming since before the meetup in October, first week of October. And I think it was like a week or maybe, yeah, it's probably a week before that. So I'm going on like 6 weeks here. Maybe more. It's ridiculous. Dogs get groomed every 8 weeks. See where the priorities are. All right, enough of that. But it is a choose your own adventure story at this point. Hey, you want to go this way? Go turn to page 52. You want to go this way? Turn to page 17. And that's what you're looking at. And because when Trump says something, and this is what I've noticed, it's interpreted in many different ways. Let's take, for instance, we're entering the golden age. And you'll have people say, yep, that means gold standard's coming back, baby. Yep. And so everybody in the precious metals community is like, yes, that's it. And then you've got, it's a golden age. And then you've got other people that think of like the Greek, the glorious buildings and, all of this regeneration and, like a golden era, totally different from the metal. And so they have a different interpretation of what that is. And some people will say it's the golden age. Oh, that means it's the false light. It's, this false prophet, Trump, he's the Antichrist, type thing. And see, he'll put things out there in a very generic way without being specific. And he does this. He's very generalistic in what he says. However, those words, he allows you to interpret. You get to choose what you think he means. What does he really mean? That's the question. I watched a documentary called Mr. McMahon. It's about Vince McMahon, the guy that started the WWE. Well, he made wrestling great again, pro wrestling great again. He didn't start the WWE. I guess he did. I mean, it was WWF. Anyway, took it over from his father, and you watch, Tilly, come on now. You watch how that all grew up, and it gets into his psychology and his persona and who he really is, and that's the question. Is the character that you see the same person behind the scenes who's running the show? I mean, is the performer the same as the man? How much of the performer is really the essence of the man? Or is it all a performance? Or is it really the same? Is it just a projection of a smaller light, and so it's like a Fresnel lens, I guess, you got this light and then it projects out. Is it just a magnification? I mean, who is the man? And that's really the question at the crux of the entire documentary, Mr. McMahon on Netflix, is that who is this guy? I mean, what does he really believe in? What drives him? What is his essence? I mean, because, you kind of know what you're about. You can meet most people and you're like, hey, I got goals. I just want to get my college degree, or, hey, I want to buy a new car, or I just want to get through the day. I mean, you just got your little internal struggles. This guy's like somewhere else. Trump's that way too. And that's why I bring it up. He's somewhere else. He's not playing in the arenas or the little, sandboxes that we play in. No. He's on the grand stage. And so when you're at that level, there's a certain level of performance. And in actuality, it's how much performance is there? And when does that blend into reality? In other words, when does that performance define you and you become that character? You get where I'm going with it? When are you just that persona? I mean, that character, really. When do you become that? I mean, you see all these people, they get into character, and you see them lose weight, these Hollywood actors, and they gain weight, they lose weight, whatever it is, to get into character, and they act that way. And even with the professional wrestlers, like The Undertaker, for instance, he's a guy that he always tried to stay in character. Even when he's like outside the ring, walking down the street, going to a restaurant, he would always stay in character, and then at some point it's like, is he really this guy? Did he become this guy? And people around him are like, this guy's always on. He's always got the thing going. And that makes me think, the language. Who is Trump? What is Trump? What's motivating him? And, he's often used the, I don't need to do this. I can be on a beach. I can be on a golf course. I've got plenty of money. And I'm thinking, but that's not him. He doesn't want to retire. Just like Vince McMahon, he's like, go off and die if you want to retire. What are you going to do? And so it's that same type of mindset. So we might want to go off and retire on a beach or a golf course or just not give a crap about anything. But this guy's got to be in the arena. His whole life has been in the spotlight. That's what feeds him. So he has to be on the grand stage. And what grander stage than be president? Flying around the world, talking to world leaders. It's like the ultimate pay-per-view event. And so he has to be there. I mean, it's boring being on a beach. It's boring being on the golf course. That's just a little interlude. It's wasting time. It's not feeding that energy, whatever that energy is, whatever needs to be fed. And that's what I look at. What needs to be fed here? What is it? What is it that drives and motivates? And you can say it's this or that. You can say it's make America great. I want to do this or want to do that. And I think it's just the fact that it needs to be fed. And that's an interesting thing once you understand that there are certain people like that. It just needs to be fed. So just something to think about, something to run around in your head and just to watch and observe, pay attention. Many of the things that are said are very generalistic and symbolic, and you can make of it what you will. And so I think that's the attraction. Everybody makes of it what they will. They're choosing their own adventure. And if you're choosing your own adventure, then truly choose your own adventure. It really doesn't matter who's president. It really doesn't matter, the scenery that changes every 4 years, every 2 years, however often. Does it really matter? Is your life different? Really different? Are you changing who you are, changing your motivations? And if you are, you have to really look at yourself and say, who am I and what are my goals? Or am I just being led along? All right, we're going to hash it out. As I said, at 4 p.m. Central Time. Westwood back in the Digibug. Had to go somewhere today. Awesome. Shows how often I go anywhere. That's when I make a video. All right, so 4 o'clock Central Time. 4 o'clock Central Time. Blind Dave's channel. See the link below. Watch us on Hash It Out. This is like episode 72 or something. Consecutive episodes. We're going to run this thing right into the bull market, the crypto market. The rockets they're warming up. We're fueling up, and it's getting ready. And we're going to talk about that, where we're at in this crypto cycle, what to expect, and when moon, baby. And in this case, I guess when Mars. So we'll talk about that. And then tomorrow, definitely join the lovely Litecoin Lisa and me on Hash It Out. I'm stuck in my head. Hash It Outs today. Happy hour tomorrow. That's about how I speak. I slur my speech on happy hour because, a little bit here, a little bit there. I'll be smoking some cigars in the bar, and that'll be a good time. Her channel, Litecoin Lisa, on YouTube. Find it, subscribe to it, hit the notification bell. We'll go live around 5 to 6-ish Central Time, and that's always a good time. All right. Love y'all. Don't just exchange one vampire casino and leave it and then go into another vampire casino. I should say don't exchange one boss for another boss that's the same boss. All right? Trust yourselves. Look at the nuanced language. Judge the tree by its fruit. Okay? Might not be producing golden apples. All right. I love you all. Exit that vampire casino if you can. Follow your path. Trust your instincts. Trust yourself more than anything. All right. Have a wonderful Thursday. See you on Hash It Out, and happy hour tomorrow.